Welcome back to the Sports News Analysis YouTube channel, your home for NFL talk here on YouTube. My name is Mike. During the course of evaluating all these different prospects, guys, for the NFL draft, there's always players that stick out to me as being very underrated. And I try to look for underrated prospects that play a value position when they project to the NFL, and guys that can, be a real asset to teams if they take them late in the draft. And there's 5 guys I've focused on as being those underrated guys here so far. First, I'll start with Brandin Cooks, the wide receiver from Oregon State. Now you say, how can a guy who won the Biletnikoff Award last year, had over 120 catches, who was tremendously productive in college, how could he be underrated? Well, I don't see many first mock drafts that have him in the first round, and I don't either, because mock draft, you have to project on who you think these teams are going to take. And I think Cooks is a guy that could very well slide to the very late first round, or most likely into the second round, and a guy that could step in right away and be a valuable part of a passing offense in the league. You look now in the league, there's a true value in guys that can run a complete route tree, like a guy like Brandin Cooks. He's not a one-trick pony. He can run underneath routes. He can run long routes. He has experience in the bubble screen game, things of that nature. And also, he's a very mature receiver. He's ready to play from day one. He uses his hands well at the line of scrimmage. He's good in tight spaces. He's not afraid to go over the middle. Not many receivers can contribute from day one, first practice, first game. I think Brandin Cooks can do that. And look, I think the team that gets him in the second round, let's say, is really going to be making out very well with the wide receiver from Oregon State. I stay on Oregon State, on the Oregon State team for my next guy, my next underrated NFL prospect, and that's Scott Crichton, the defensive end. You get a guy in Crichton who had played some defensive tackle, all right, in 2012. Now in 2013, more of a defensive end. And to me, you get versatility on the defensive line with a guy like this. You get a guy that would probably be best as a 3-4 or a 4-3 defensive end. I think he could play both because he's a bigger guy. And even if he's on a team that runs a 4-3, if you want a situation where you have your pass rush package in, I think he's a guy that could definitely slip down to the tackle spot in a 4-3 to give you more pass rushers on the field. And I think NFL teams definitely value that kind of versatility on the defensive side of the ball. He's not afraid to get his nose dirty as far as setting the edge in the run game, and also taking the inside route as well, taking on guards and centers. Sometimes, prospects will shy away from that. Okay? So, look at Crichton as being a guy that, again, he's not going to be up there with the Coney Ealys of the world, the Jadeveon Clowneys, the Anthony Barrs, the Khalil Macks, other edge guys, but a guy that definitely has some value for the reasons I mentioned. Scott Crichton, defensive end from Oregon State. At number 3 here, I go on the offensive side of the ball again to Morgan Moses, the offensive tackle from Virginia. And the knock on Moses was no one's ever doubted his ability as a run blocker. He proved that at UVA. What people did question was his foot speed and quickness to be able to really contend with the edge rushers in the NFL, which in this day and age of the passing game being so prevalent in the NFL, being able to seal off those edge rushers is very key. And Moses showed the ability to do that at the Senior Bowl. He had some pretty accomplished edge rushers there, and he did a very good job against them. So if you're saying he's good in the run blocking game, which almost every scout unanimously agrees with, and he got so much better, it seems, from a pass protection standpoint, when you look at him as possibly being the 6th or 7th ranked offensive tackle that you could get in probably the second, maybe an off-shot 3rd round, because I think most people have Robinson, Matthews, Luan, Quanjo, and Martin all rated ahead of him. But hey, you could get a starter there, probably right tackle to start off with in the 2nd or 3rd round, to me, and 7 deep at the position is a benefit. So Morgan Moses, a name to look out for as well. Another little bit off the radar guy I have on the offensive side of the ball at number 4, and that's Richard Rodgers, the tight end from Cal. Now, Cal did not have a great season last year. All right, they did institute a new offense though, in which Rodgers showed glimpses of brilliance. To be quite honest, 39 catches for 600 yards. All right, and I know I've talked to some California Bears fans because seeing tape on this guy, but maybe not watching him down in and down out like the fans do. They all said the same things that you see on tape. A guy who showed flashes of being very good, but then periods where he'd disappear. And they all thought he would be better served coming back, okay, for another year at Cal. Well, he decides to enter the NFL draft. We know about the premium set on pass-catching tight ends, and this is a deep tight end draft. I mean, you're probably looking at minimum, Ebron and Amaro going in the first round, maybe Safari and Jenkins slipping into that first round. So you'll look in the third, maybe even fourth round, a guy like Rodgers could be there, maybe a little bit more of a developmental guy, okay, but a guy that could be a valuable pass weapon. Look at no further than Luke Wilson and the impact he had on the Seahawks this year in the passing game. A guy similar in that mold, a guy that can get better every year, whose potential I don't think is even close to being tapped yet. That's Richard Rodgers, the tight end from Cal. And lastly, at number 5, I have another Pac-12 guy, and I have Carl Bradford from Arizona State. This is a guy who's a hybrid defensive end outside linebacker prospect, but a guy who has some strength to him, has some weight to him at 6'1", 240. All right, 16 tackles for loss this past year, 20 tackles for loss in 2012, 11.5 sacks in 2012, 8.5 sacks in 2013. Yes, his numbers declined a little bit, but there's actually a really good piece on Fox Sports, if you check it out, about the passing of his father and how much that affected him. So I think all things considered in his personal life, he actually persevered and played pretty well at Arizona State. A lot of focus being paid to some of his other, Arizona State teammates heading into this draft. But Bradford is a guy, I think, again, a hybrid 3-4, 4-3 player, which, again, is valued, let's say, to a team like the Titans, for instance. And I think you could get this guy potentially, all right, in between rounds 2 and 4. And, again, he's a guy that plays multiple positions, a guy that's been productive on the college level, and could be a real steal for a team at a high priority position and as an edge defender. Guys, let me know what you think of these 5 prospects. I know it just happens that 4 of the 5 of these guys, okay, are from the Pac-12. Just, when I'm looking through the tape, those are just the 5 guys I came up with. So let me know what you think of these 5 guys. Hit me up in the comments. Hit me up on Twitter as well. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, guys. I do NFL draft videos, NFL free agent videos, cover the NFL all year here. So be sure to subscribe. Thanks for listening. Have a great night.